Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are a middle aged couple with a Regal Unlimited subscription and an unreasonable fondness for movie theater popcorn.
Gotta love that movie theater popcorn. Stuff good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we're making a video for every movie we see together in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight was another Monday mystery movie at
Mm-hmm.
Regal Cineplex.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still touching the table for some reason. Okay. So, tonight's movie was
Tuner.
Tuner, which was a heist movie, kind of. It was a musical heist movie, in a sense.
Sure. I suppose if you have to put words to the undescribable, then those are words that sort of describe what was happening, I think.
So, before we get to spoilers, because I think we do have to do spoilers for this one, unfortunately, um, let's start off by saying that I liked this movie a lot more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very stylish movie.
Mm-hmm.
It has some great cinematography and very stylish cinematography, not just well done cinematography, but some really inventive, creative shots. There's a great shot where the action switches from night to day, and it's literally you see the skyscape of the what do
New
you call it, the
York.
cityscape of New York City
Mm-hmm.
at night, and then a beat of the music hits and it switches to day just like that. And I thought, oh, that's really clever. I don't know if I've seen that done before.
Well, see, for me, what's clever about this movie is I don't think this movie was actually written by a sound designer, but it was definitely, I think, directed by a musician. Oh, I didn't bring my phone over here. I think the guy who wrote some of the music, if he wasn't the producer, he was the director, or maybe he was the vice versa. But this movie pays an inordinate amount of attention to sound, not just
Mm-hmm.
because it's part of the plot that we're about to spoil, but just in kind of all elements. There's a lot of music, and the music is very interesting and very, some of it is very famous and very good. But there's
It's a lot of
music
jazz.
composed for the film
Yeah.
that is interesting. And there is a huge amount of attention paid to sound and the quality of sound. And sound drives the plot. And that's done very, very, very well. They forgot to otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, create a plot.
Okay.
Because for me, everything else about it is so farcically like not feasible or not sensible that it kind of like undercuts how good it looks and how good it sounds.
So there's a fun, if slightly not quite believable hook, and then the plot gets kind of silly, especially in the third act. But other good things about this. So that we talked about the music briefly. You talked about the music briefly, but I will say that there's a piece that was composed specifically for this movie. It's a contemporary classical orchestrated piece, and it is gorgeous. It's a beautiful piece of music, and I would love to hear it again. Um,
I'm
the
sure there's a
plot
soundtrack
revolves
on
around
Spotify.
this piece of music, so it absolutely, or at least it's
One thread of
integral.
the
It's
plot.
integral to the plot,
One thread of the plot.
and as a result, like they knew they had to make something special, and I think they really did. Um, that being said, the acting was solid, pretty much all around.
Yeah, there's the main character. This guy who is a piano tuner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's the tuner, but is in the large majority of the scenes in the movie. And
Yeah,
there are many scenes in the movie where it's either him and one other character and nothing else, or it's him alone.
yeah,
And he's really, 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 really good.
absolutely
Um,
sells the story
yeah,
in a way that other actors couldn't have.
yeah, but I just wish there was more sense behind what he was doing,
Yes.
But like, yeah, he was really very good.
So the other actor is who's in much of the movie is Hannah Rose Liu. Is that her name?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And she's also very good. Doesn't get a lot to do. but she's good at what she does, and she's very convincing as a classical musician and composer. And very much when she's playing the piano, it looks like she's really playing the piano. So I don't know if she's trained or not, but she sells it. She
Yeah.
absolutely sells it.
I mean, she
Sell-
does have a
sells
pi-
the idea that she's a musical genius.
Yes. She does have a piano playing double that we saw in the credits,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
but
All
the,
right.
the points where we see her are very convincing.
Okay.
The same as him. He has a piano playing double as well.
There is a man who plays a criminal in this movie who is very good, although kind of an ethnic stereotype. And then there is Dustin Hoffman. And all the advertising for this movie is going to tell you that Dustin Hoffman is in this film. He is. Dustin Hoffman is very much in this film. He is in the first 5 minutes of the film, and then he has a heart attack. And
More than that.
Okay.
But it's like him and the piano tuner are like the only two characters in the movie for maybe the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, but first 10 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he has a little bit later. And like after the first 20 minutes, he's basically gone from the movie.
Yeah. He does not have a lot to do here.
Yeah.
Clearly, his contract said he had to work 3 days and then he could go home. And that's fine. He's getting up there. He's certainly, like, frailer than he used to be. And, he plays a man with dementia who's losing his grip. And
See, it's interesting because I didn't find him particularly convincing as physically frail. Like mentally frail, yes, I very much got that.
Okay.
I didn't, I could see how he had aged. But at the beginning, they show you, big people who are in the movie. Like they show the names in the credits and they show Jean Reno.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, and then I forgot that. And then in the credits at the end, I'm like, oh my God, that old man who couldn't stand up straight was him. Like, I haven't seen him in so long. I didn't realize how much he had aged.
Yeah.
So Dustin Hoffman didn't strike me as like, as old as he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't seem as frail as the character was kind of supposed to be.
Okay.
And then this other character that it has this bit part, like, but I'm just like, oh, who is this like big guy? But like, this really like older big guy who then like in the last scene where you see him actually walking, you realize like he can't quite stand up straight. Like, who is that? Oh my God. Like, that's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, plot. This is where the movie does fall down a little bit. I was willing to give it a lot of leeway and a lot of suspension of disbelief. Jennifer clearly was not. So, okay, the plot is a little preposterous. So the idea is that our hero, do you remember what the actor's name is?
The actor's name is Leo Woodall,
Okay. So,
and the character is Nikki.
yes. So Nikki is a young man who used to be a piano prodigy, but has succumbed to some kind of disease, whether it's genetic or otherwise, we don't know, that causes him to be extraordinarily sensitive to sound, to the extent that even just average everyday sounds like dogs barking or, people polishing a floor or whatever cause him severe pain. He wears noise-canceling headphones at all times. He has specially made earplugs. They're, tailored to his ears that he never takes out. And he's basically able to function working as a piano tuner. He is very, very sensitive to very small sounds, which allows him to be a very good piano tuner. Somehow, the full sound of a piano, like a piano being played at full volume, doesn't hurt him. There's a throwaway line in the movie about how he did exposure therapy and was somehow able to learn how to handle piano sounds, but it's not particularly convincing. Anyway, but what it does also give him...
Because he can also drive. Like,
Yeah.
he, is like in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and he lives in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Not the world's quietest city.
if the average
As we
day-to-day sound of like the world is too much,
Yeah.
the last place on earth you want to live is New York City.
New York City can be pretty noisy, as we can attest. But Okay.
Can you imagine if he lived in this apartment and could hear the little kids upstairs?
Yeah, well.
He'd go bananas.
So,
Banana pants.
it turns out, through a series of contrived events, that his ability to hear very soft sounds allows him to open mechanical safes.
He's a safe cracker.
He's a safe cracker, and he kind of falls into it. It's not what he intended to do with his life. But he quickly falls into the clutches of some gangsters who work. They have a functional LLC, not LLC.
They're a security company
Security company
for rich people.
where they install security systems for rich people, but in the process they rob them. The movie claims that rich people don't really pay attention to all the things they have. So as long as you take little pieces, a watch here or there, or maybe a couple diamonds out of a box full of diamonds, and you don't take everything, you don't get too greedy, that no one ever notices. This is not true, and the movie actually does get into the fact that people do notice. But that's what the criminals claim, that they can steal these tiny things, very expensive tiny things, and get away with it. And they convince Nicky, the piano tuner, that he should be part of their gang.
Because they pay him.
Yes. And he needs money because Dustin Hoffman has had a heart attack and is in the hospital and is suffering from dementia and is already in debt. And so somebody's got to pay for all this. And so he breaks into safes and helps these criminals steal things. And for a while it goes fine.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, through equally contrived circumstances, he meets Ruthie, who is a composer. And she is brilliant. He knows right away that she's brilliant. They have a little meet cute, and then they kind of... she needs him desperately to come fix her piano, and he does, and it takes all night, and suddenly they're kissing, and blah, blah, blah. It's not quite that simple, but it's close enough. And so she becomes his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and he is quite taken with her. So, at one point, she tells him that she used to have a watch with a pearl band that belonged to her grandmother, and that watch was lost on the subway. In one of the safes that he opens for the security company, he finds a watch with a pearl band and tries to give it to her as a gift. And she does eventually accept it and starts wearing it.
It has it's engraved in the back in French.
Yes. And this will become important. So there's a scene where he tries to open the wrong safe and it's got a crypto key in it. The people who wanted him to open it did not own the safe, of course, and the man who does own the safe shows up and nearly kills everybody. And a gun goes off near Nicky's ear, which is apparently less painful than an air horn blown at him from 20 feet away, but okay. And, but it's still painful, and he stumbles out of there, but he gets the crypto key. However, there's another copy of the crypto key, so the criminals want him to go after that. So in the meantime, Ruthie, the composer, is about to perform for a famous composer,
A maestro.
named Meissner.
Meissner, right?
Maestro Meissner, who is played by Jean Reno. And Nicky gets taken away to open one last safe to get the crypto key, the other copy of the crypto key. The gangsters don't know that Nicky has already taken $1 million plus off of the crypto account because, of course, if you take a small amount, people won't notice.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, it turns out to be true. Anyway, so he is still trying to crack this other safe to get the crypto key, even though his ears have been damaged by air horns and bullets and so on, and barely gets the safe open. And the criminals take the crypto key, and he stumbles out of there, tries to get back to where Ruthie is performing her special piece for Maestro Meissner. And
So that she can be taken on as his assistant.
yeah, and doesn't quite make it in time. However, and this is where I just sort of laughed out loud, because this is the biggest twist of the movie, and it is such a weird coincidence that it broke any kind of suspension of disbelief, It turns out that the watch with the pearl band belonged to Maestro Meissner's mother, who died in the Holocaust. And both that watch and another one that belonged to his father had been stolen a month ago. And so Ruthie's internship is in serious jeopardy because she's wearing a stolen watch that belongs to the man she's trying to intern with. And this is just, it beggars disbelief, right? They're...
As if all of the rest of it didn't.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like all of it beggared disbelief.
I was willing to take the ride.
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to take the ride right up to this moment.
To that bus stop. And then you're like, I need to get off the bus.
So Nikki says, what if I can get the other watch back? Will you not press charges? Will you take Ruthie on as your assistant? Blah, blah, blah. And so Maestro Jean Renault says, yes, I'll do that. Nikki goes to get the watch back, and this, again, did not make a lot of sense. Tries to steal it from the criminals.
During the middle of a rave.
During the middle of a rave.
Literally the
where he is
last possible place that you would think he could even walk into.
severely debilitated by the noise of the rave.
But not so debilitated.
So the criminals catch him trying to open the safe in the middle of the rave, where literally hundreds of people are watching him. And the watch isn't even in that safe. The head criminal is wearing the watch. So Nikki says, just give me the watch and I'll go. The cops, nobody will call the cops if you give me this watch. And the head criminal is like, are you kidding? Why would I do that? And then destroys his hearing utterly with air horns. And apparently stabs him in the ears.
Yeah, I guess
It was
punctures.
unclear.
I guess he punctures his eardrums
Punctures
with
his
a knife.
eardrums. So Nikki wakes up
Rather
in the
than
hospital.
kill him, because
Yeah.
that's all you really got to do. You kill him and then he goes away.
Yeah. So Nikki wakes up in the hospital, and his hearing problem is solved because his eardrums have been destroyed,
Because he's basically deaf at this point.
except that he can perfectly hear something if the plot requires it,
Sort of.
sort of. So he wakes up in the hospital with punctured eardrums, and in his belongings, his personal effects, he finds the watch, the one he needs, the one that's going to save everybody. So why? There is maybe half a line of dialogue that might explain it if you're feeling really charitable, that it's bad luck to steal a watch belonging to a Holocaust victim.
Right, because the
okay.
criminals are clearly Israeli,
Yeah.
right? So that they have family that were lost in the Holocaust, and so when they find out that these watches were connected to that, man, that's stuff we shouldn't have stolen.
But so a criminal finds a guy trying to steal from him, and that guy says, if you give me the watch, I won't call the cops. At which point the criminal is already assaulting him to the point of a felony charge, and then says, I guess I'll just give him the watch.
Mm-hmm.
That way he won't call the cops and everything will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he trust Nikki? No clue. Why would he think that this is going to work? Well, guess what? It does. So he takes the watch back to Jean Renault, who says that the piano tuner is absolved.
That's literally the line.
He sees Ruthie, who is still upset with him, but then he saves the day by playing Ruthie's composition, her big orchestral piece, note for note, because he not only has, as established in the movie, he not only has perfect pitch, he also has an eidetic memory. Cool. And it ends in a little joke and then fade to black, or cut to black.
Yep. Everything about this movie is ridiculous, is either biologically impossible, makes no sense. Yes, we are driving around all over the place stealing stuff when we are the security company. There is never any question, there is never any blowback, there is never any need to explain why this other random guy is coming into these houses. Apparently nobody leaves fingerprints, nor does anybody care to discern whether those fingerprints need to be found.
And this would be a bonded company. This is they're providing their clients with all of their personal information.
Yeah.
And nobody ever thinks to track anything down to them.
Right. Or ask the security company a question ever, right? Okay, these people don't notice. Well, Maestro Meisner noticed that these watches were missing and had asked no questions of anyone.
Nor contacted any police anywhere.
Right. But like, you contact the security company first if you trust them implicitly, right?
Yeah.
Like, what? Total flagrant 1000% nonsense. This dude is driving around New York in a van that is branded for the Piano Tuner Company, is wearing a it's not a onesie. What do you call those?
Hoodie.
No.
No.
The outfit, the working man's
like
outfit.
a jumpsuit.
Like a jumpsuit. Yeah, a jumpsuit with the company on the back, right? Like, he is identifiable as like the sun. And somehow that causes no problem. Nobody ever tells him, show up in something else. Like, just, what?
So
It just makes no sense
this movie,
whatsoever. But there's this amazing attention to sound.
Yeah.
And you get this sense of like, so he's got the plugs in his ears all the time. The instances that those plugs move in any way, the cacophony of just like the sound of the world just infuses your body, like you just feel that distress because you have that sonic distress. You get that sense of, when he puts on the noise canceling headphones on top of it, and just the muffled nature of the world around it, and what you can hear and what you kind of can't, and like, where the music is and how the music fits, and just all these other sounds, just the sounds of existence. And like, there's this dog, that's like this panty, like, a bulldog. So it's like a snuffly, panty dog that's like just noisy, like, and you just get this sense of, like, there's this dude who's always eating something, right? And he's always eating something crunchy. And like, the sound of that is just also very present.
Yeah.
And that's just done so well.
It is.
Like, this is somebody whoever put all this together is just somebody obsessed with sound. But like, there is a plot there that makes a slight lick of sense. This one is not it.
Again, I was willing to go for the ride right up until the big twist. And I think, like, I was willing to suspend disbelief literally, just knowing perfectly well that this plot was silly, and saying, you know what, in the rules of this world, somehow this works. I'm willing to accept that. The idea that Maestro Meisner had this watch stolen from him, and then it shows
noticed
up
it,
on this girl's wrist at this particular moment.
Yep. Because she hadn't been wearing the watch. She wore it for her special recital.
For the special recital, even though she was mad at Nicky and then and he wasn't showing up and the whole thing. It was just so much. That one moment was way too much for me to bear. And at that point, I couldn't say, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm giving this movie a B-. And we don't normally do letter grades.
I can't even give that a letter grade. I don't even know what letter grade to give it. I would actually, despite all the faces that I'm making and like the not good feeling about this movie that I have, I'm still like happy that I watched it, in the sense of the attention it pays to sound. Like, it's just a part of movie making that for the most part I don't think a whole lot about. And, like, you notice music or whatever, but
I might pick up the soundtrack to this movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's on Spotify, you can listen to it.
The contemporary classical piece is so good.
Yeah.
And the jazz classics that are in this movie, it's not like a surprising soundtrack in that terms, but it's just very, very good jazz pieces.
There's a reference to Herbie Hancock earlier in the movie, and then all of a sudden he shows up for a cameo in the movie.
Yeah, he has a cameo.
Which, that was the point where I was like, at least just smiling of like, oh, okay, that actually is fucking Herbie Hancock.
The music is so good, and the sound design is so good, and
sound design
the sound effects are so good.
Yeah, it's just,
this movie definitely deserves an award for sound design.
It really does. It really does, because that's what was thought through.
Yeah.
And just.
And maybe that's enough. Maybe that is enough to make this a decent movie.
I think it's enough to make it watchable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
I
think
was
it's enjoyable.
And I felt the movie moved at a good clip.
Yeah.
Like, I never felt bored with this movie. I never felt like it was repeating itself. I felt like it was building to something. That something was kind of ludicrous, but still, it was building, and it had a great payoff, and it just felt solid. I think that, the excellent acting, and the incredible sound design, I think it carries it. I think that this is a movie worth seeing.
Yeah.
You got to go in knowing that the plot's not going to be anything, but it's, but lots of movies can say that.
Sure.
And they don't have this sound design.
Yes.
So, Tuner, I'm going to recommend it. You can choose not to, or...
I guess I feel like I would recommend it in like a film studies kind of way. Like if you want to watch a movie to teach you how to think about sound in a movie, you should absolutely watch it for that. But I don't see any particular other reason to watch it.
What is the Gene Hackman film about? It's called The Pickup, I think. Anyway,
I don't know.
But the movie this really made me think about was Trance.
Yes.
And Trance is a better movie. The plot of Trance is just as silly as this one.
Redonkulous.
But it's so much fun. You just kind of go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, which is how I felt about this movie, but okay. And the soundtrack for Trance, we both still have on our phones.
I don't, because I mean, I guess maybe it's on Apple Music. It's not on Spotify, so I listen to it ripped on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not on Spotify, and I'm not using Apple Music at the moment. But yeah, I mean, the music is amazing. Yeah.
Written by Moby, so there's that.
Not the entire soundtrack.
Not the entire soundtrack?
No, I mean there might be some Moby songs on there, but no, it's a movie composer, like a British movie composer whose name I recognized because there was some other movie soundtrack that I like that he did, but of course I can't remember the man's name right now.
If only we had access to your phone.
Well, we don't because it's not here with me.
Okay. This video is long enough anyway.
Yes.
So we are going to say...
You say go see it. I say think
Meh.
about it.
If it's on streaming. But
you
would want to see
need
it.
The
sound.
sound.
You need the big sound.
This really is a movie to watch in the movie theater because you need big sound that you're going to be able to feel in your body. Because there's times where it's not just that the sound is loud, right? Like, like air horns and like planes going overhead. I don't even, because I don't know anything about how you do sound design, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that it's loud, it's something else about it that makes it so assaultive. And you feel it the way he feels it.
I think one part of it was there was such a range of sound. Much of this movie is very quiet and very soft.
That's true.
And then you'll get like a smoke alarm going off or a plane going by overhead. And it sounds so loud.
Yeah.
Like definitely loud. And the movie theater the speakers in the movie theater weren't turned up or anything.
No, they're not, but there are so many of them, right? There's speakers all around the walls at this point in these movie theaters that you feel the volume of it.
Again, this is a movie that does not overstay its welcome, unlike our video, which is now getting too long.
Yeah, our movie is what percentage of the length of the movie?
A third.
The movie is an hour and 49 minutes.
So less than a quarter.
No. Okay.
Or more
That's
than
fine.
A quarter.
So maybe it's time for us to stop talking.
It is. So until next time.
Bye.
Bye.